Good evening. So in the last we covered OOPS concepts. Now in this session we are going to discuss the important topics, what is method and how to create a method overloading. After that, very important concept, constructor and constructor overloading. Okay, so we are going to cover these topics. Now first let me tell you about object. Some points we covered already. What is object theoretically? That is instance of a class. But now we are going to cover some more points. When you are creating a object or when we are writing the code of the object, a memory will be allocated for the class. For example, we have written a class like this. Observe here. So this is the way of writing the code for the creation of the class. See? So we are creating the class by using this code, class name, and field. Field is nothing but variable or variables. If you need a single variable or if you want to maintain multiple variables, create variables here. That is the meaning of field. Then method. With this data, what you want to do, you must write the code in the method. For example, I want to maintain two variables, A assignment 10, B assignment 20. You need to declare the variables in the field. Method, what you want to do with those two values. Suppose I want to implement some of the two numbers, C assignment A plus B. Like that, field is used to declare the data. Okay, declare the variables, and within the variables, we can store the data. Methods are used to perform some action on the fields. So this is how to create a class. That is the general syntax. Now coming to the object. The syntax to create the object is class name, space, variable name or reference name, you can say, assignment new class name. So in this case, this variable is called object. Okay, I will show you in a complete example. Before that, try to understand what's happening inside when we are writing this code. We are writing this code to create the object. In this particular example, my class name is student. Student is my class name. In my example, my class name is student. And I'm creating the object for the class student. And my object name in this example is std. Std is the object name, or you can say variable name. Assignment, new class name, again student. So this is we are creating the object for the class student. Assume that in the class student, I declared three variables. Listen carefully. Assume that in the class student, I declared three variables. Those three variables are name, roll number, and age. I want to store student name, student roll number, and student age. That is why I created three variables in the class by following the same syntax. Assume that class student name, age, and the details what you want to maintain. You must write here. Okay, as per our example, name, roll number, age. Then when you created the object, the internal representation is a variable or reference is created, and that is pointing to the memory location where the memory is allocated to your variables. Whenever you are writing this statement, the memory is allocated for all your variables in the memory location, and this memory is pointed by the your object. Object doesn't store the values directly. If you observe this image, you can understand that. Object doesn't store the values directly. We are not storing the values name, roll number, age within the box. Okay, this is also a memory. This also a memory. But object is giving the reference. It giving the reference to the memory location where actual values are available in the primary memory or RAM. So this is the working nature of the object in Java. Okay. Now see the complete code. Class, public class, class name is student. and I want to maintain the data like student name, student roll number, student age. Name is a string type, okay, because we are using some text. Name is text. Roll number, a number, integer data type. Age is also a number, integer data type. So this is field. We are declaring these fields. Now, method. This is how to write a method. The definition of the method is a collection of the statements. We have three statements here. Method is a collection of the statements that is used to perform a particular task. That is the technical definition about the word method. So in this particular example, my intention of this method, the intention to write this method is, I want to print student details. I want to print student name, student roll number, and student age. For that, I am writing this method. See, void info. Info is a method name. And create the block. Okay, braces, create the block. System.out.println, already we covered that output statement. Name will be displayed as it is within the double quotation. Concatenation with name. This is the variable. What is the value we have in the name that will be printed here. If you observe the output statement, observe here, name Ramesh. So Ramesh will be passed later. Okay. Then roll number value will be printed, and system.out.println age within the double quotes, that will be printed as it is age. After that, this age, the value of the age will be printed. So that is used to print the values. But as of now, we didn't store any value in the name, roll number, age. Na? Then closing of the method. We declared variables. We are trying to printing the values of the variables, but we didn't store any value as of now. Then public static void main string args as usual. Create the object for your class. This is creating the object for the student class. We have two students now, student. Here S is capital letter. This is class. This is object. All are in the lowercase letter. If you are confusing with this, you can use any name here. In place of this student, you can write std. That is also valid. Now, creating the object is over. And after that, I want to store the values in these variables, name, roll number, age. For that, the syntax we need to follow is object name dot variable name. Object name student na, student dot variable name, because that is used to store the name of your student. I am storing the student name is Ramesh, let us say. Then again, object name dot roll number. Assign the roll number for that student. Any number, just I am assigning 253. Object name dot age, that particular student age. Let us assume that 25. So this is storing the values for the student with help of the object. Now, just if you call this method, that method will be used to print the stored values. Already we stored the values now here. We stored the values for the student. If you want to print those values on the screen, you need to call the method info, because info method has the statements. Those are used to print the values of name, roll number, age. So this is the syntax to call a method. Object name dot method name. In our example, object name is student and method name is also info. Student dot info. Then the controller jumps from this statement to this statement. Okay. While executing, the controller redirecting from calling method statement to the method where you have the code for that particular method. And it starts the execution of this method. Then system.out.println name Ramesh will be printed. Then roll number, after that plus value of the roll number. Roll number will be printed as it is, value of that variable. This will be printed age 25. Then after executing those three statements, the controller reaches to the ending point of the method. Whenever it reaches to the ending point of any method, that should be redirecting to calling place again. Okay. Then if you have any statement or statements here, those will be executed. But in this example, we don't have any statements. So it reaches to the ending point of the main, ending point of the class. Then program will be terminated and you will get the output like this. So this is, you need to understand the execution flow. Okay. Where the execution is started, from where to where the control is jumping, and how to understand the code. I think the execution flow is clear. So if you get the question like what is class, what is object, and write an example program to implement a class and object, or what is method, write a Java program to implement a method. So if you have any one of these questions, you can implement this code. You can write this code. Now, let me give you some more points about the methods. As I covered just now, generally methods are used to implement any particular task. Okay, the task might be anything: finding sum of the two numbers, finding factorial of a given number, printing the values of the variables, whatever it might be the task, depending on your project or depending on your application. The syntax we need to follow while we are creating the method is return type. What is the value you want to return? After executing the method, you need to write the return type. For example, after executing a method, I want to return an integer value from that method. So here you need to write int. Next, method name. What is the method name you want to maintain as per your requirement? For example, I want to find sum of the two numbers. Your method name might be sum. If you want to find a factorial of a given number, your method name might be factorial. Like this, depending on your requirement, you can change the name. Parameter list. Parameter list is nothing but if you want to implement this task, the method task, you need to use some values, right? Suppose sum of the two numbers, you must maintain two numbers, two value you need. That parameter list is used to receive the inputs. Okay. And you need to write the code here that is called body of the method or logic of the particular method. By following this rule, you need to develop a method. Then parameter passing technique is one of the important concept. Now we can pass the values from one method to another method. Passing means sending parameters, input values. Passing means sending. We can send the input values from one function to another function. Technically, we can pass the parameters from one function to another function or one method to another method. This is the parameter passing technique. And in Java, especially, we have only one parameter passing technique, that is only call by value. Generally, in C language, C++ language, we have basically two types of the techniques. Those are call by value, call by reference. But in Java, Java supports only one technique, that is call by value. See the example to understand the concept of call by value. Public class, class name. You can give any class name here. Swap. Okay, in this example, I am using the class name swap. Create the block, that is creating point of the class, starting point of the class. Public static void. Observe here. Public static void. My method name is swap. Swap is my method name. All are lowercase letter. Here also I am using swap, but S is capital letter. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to change the method name, you can change it. Okay. If there is a chance to get the confusion, you can change the name. That is also valid. Now, remember one more important point. Even though if you write any method, the method will not be executed whenever you write the method calling statement. Whenever you write method calling statement, then only the method will be activated. Even though if you have this code in your file, the code will not be executed. You need to call it. Then what is the meaning of method calling? We need to write the method calling statement by following this syntax. Method name, arguments list if any. Argument list is nothing but, in simple terms, what are the values you want to send to that particular method, you need to write within the parenthesis. These are called arguments. Okay, right. Swap method, we are writing some code. This is used to implement the swapping. Swapping means, suppose we have x and y values. Finally, x value becomes y value becomes x value. That is swapping, interchanging in simple terms. And one more important point, if you feel this code is very lengthy, no need to write this complete code. Just you can modify x value or y value. Like x assignment, x plus 10. You can modify the value in any way. A plus operation, minus operation, multiplication, any operation. But the concept is you need to change the value. Okay. If you feel this method is very complicated, you can follow this short method also. Right. Coming to the main method, int x assignment to 10, int y assignment 20. We declare two variables of integer type and storing two values 10, 20. Then if you want to understand any unknown code, you can start from the main function. Because the execution starts from the main function only. That's why you can start the coding part from the main function to understand any unknown code. Then xy is created and value we have in the x is 10. The value we have in the y is 20. Swap x comma y. This is the method calling statement. Now, when this statement is being executed by the JVM is looking for a method with the name swap, point 1. If any method is available with the name swap, these x comma y values also will be sent to that same swap method. So the JVM redirected from this statement to this statement. While redirecting, the x and y values will be copied to these two parameters. After executing this statement, now x value becomes 10 and y value becomes 20. Those values will be passed from this main function to swap function or main method to swap method. Now, this is the logic that is used to implement swapping, interchanging the values. Temporary variable, we are storing x value in the temporary variable. After that, y value in the x value and temporary value in the y value. Then finally, after executing these three statements, x value becomes 20, y value becomes 10, interchanging the values. Okay, now see. In called method, x value is 20. In called method, x value is 20. Okay, that will be printed first. In called method, in this example, swap is called method. Main is called calling method. Main method should be pronounced as calling method. For this swap method, we are using the word called method because this is calling. Suppose you are calling to your friend, you becomes a calling method. Your friend becomes a called method because your friend is being called by yourself. Okay, you are calling. So you are the calling method. Assume that you and your friends are the methods. Your